Hi all, many thanks for joining us on this podcast. My name is Mishal Patel and I represent the Visas and Citizenship branch in the UK. I'm here with our Director for Sable Education, Brent. Thank you for joining us. I believe you just flew in. When exactly did you fly in?
I flew in on Monday, and
Wow, that's amazing. And he's here with us today. So we're kind of lucky to be in the same room because he usually flies a lot for his work. Brent, tell us a little bit about your business, Sable Education, and what does it do for students around the world?
So we primarily help students from Africa who want to study abroad, looking at university programs in mostly the UK, but we do a
Right.
bunch of other countries like Australia and USA. So we understand all those markets as well. But UK is our most biggest primary market for our students at the moment coming out of Africa.
Right. Okay. So if I was a student in let's say Zimbabwe, and I'm looking to look at my options to study perhaps dentistry or law or accounting, and I was a little bit concerned about where to go and how to do it, but I'm looking at UK as an option. Would they then get in touch with your department, and your department will help them how?
100%. So our team, and we have offices in Zimbabwe and South Africa,
Right.
Zambia, Uganda, Nigeria. So we have a broad range throughout sub-Saharan Africa. And our team of study abroad advisors will work with a student to create an initial assessment around what their academics are, what university is right for them, and then look at
Right. Okay.
options that could be
Wow.
right for them. So across a broad range of universities across the country. So the student might also look at wanting to study at a specific location based on family, if
Right.
they have family there, or that's where there's a specific course that's available to them. So we do a full kind of overall assessment, and then we look at options and provide options for the students. Once the students have chosen their option, we'll help them with their application, so their
Right.
admissions to the university,
Yep.
all the way through to their visa and their accommodation booking. So the entire process, right from start till they enroll at the university, will look after.
That's amazing. So you'll be talking to the admissions, or your team will be talking to the admissions and,
Yeah,
getting that through.
yeah, yeah,
Excellent,
yeah. We work for
excellent.
the university, so our services don't cost anything to students. That's really important that we work on behalf of the university. So we represent them as their in-country representatives, allowing us to access the university's admissions teams directly, meaning
Okay,
students get that support through us as if they're speaking to the university.
amazing, amazing. Brent, tell us something about yourself. So you are, if I remember our conversations in the past where I visited you in Cape Town, you were actually born in South Africa.
Correct. So I was born in South Africa, but I came into the UK and studied my master's at Anglia Ruskin University.
Right.
So I've
Okay.
been through the journey myself. I understand the process and how complicated it can be and how daunting it is coming to a new country and experiencing new cultures. And yeah, having someone to help
Hmm,
would definitely have made a big difference for me. And that's why I came back and set up myself so that we could actually provide that support.
that's amazing, Brent. And how long have you been in this type of work?
I've been doing this now over 10 years.
Over 10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing.
Traveled
So,
to about 20 different countries in Africa
right,
and helped at this point thousands of students study overseas.
study overseas.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, listeners, if you have children or children are about to go into education, children are thinking of going into higher education, specifically in the UK, you want to speak to Brent Morris and his team at Seb Education. Thank you, Brent.
My
That makes good sense. But the other reason why we're here, Brent, is of lately you approached me to get my 2 pence on the latest changes with the UK and the student visa category. Now, you obviously approached us to kind of get a better understanding of it, which also made us think. And I remember our conversation, Brent, which was, if we are so confused, surely our students and our listeners must
100%.
also be
Yeah.
confused about what exactly is going on, who does it affect, and what does it mean if I'm a potential international student looking to relocate to the UK to study my undergraduate, my master's, my PhD, and so on. So, Brent, in your own words, what do you think when you think about your business and your clients and the children that you represent? Would they be confused? Are they clear on this? What exactly is the
Well, yeah,
opinion
I
down
think
there?
the biggest, for a lot of our students do want to take dependents with, and I think that's something that's worth noting,
Mm,
is that we've seen an increase in our clients wanting to take the dependents with them,
right.
wanting to take family members with. When the UK introduced the post study work visa the graduate visa, as we call it, around 2 years ago, we saw a huge uptick in families now traveling with their partners who were going to study abroad. And so I think what we're really nervous about is that we don't quite understand what's going to happen now. And that's why it's so great to be speaking to you, Mishal, because I'm able
Pleasure.
to get ahead of the game. Speak to the guys who know what they're talking about when it comes to immigration, because we've got a massive understanding around how to do your student visa, but when it comes to actually once you graduate and staying back, how does
Yes.
that look and feel?
What does
Because
that do?
ideally, these students are coming for the idea of either getting experience and then going back
Mm,
home, or staying on even and potentially
mm.
working in the country. And what are the options once they graduate? I think that's really what we want to understand. I think that the change in the rules, even the government has been a bit vague about that. So I
Mm.
think we really need to dive into that and understand how is that going to affect
Agreed.
students. Does that mean UK is no longer an option? And I don't think that's the
No.
case. I think the UK is still the number one option, and we've already discussed it about
Yes.
the opportunities that students still have coming. It just creates another step. But
Yes.
I'd love for you to kind of, if you can touch on that, on how
Sure.
the UK can still be the option for students coming to study, who
Yeah.
want to study abroad effectively.
Yeah. Absolutely, Brent. I mean, our my side of the business does do quite a lot of immigration. That's one of our main pieces apart from British nationality. And what is changing for our listeners who might be a little bit miffed at what exactly we're pertaining to here is basically the UK having looked at their net migration figures, or what they thought
Yeah.
would be the net migration figures, and gone, well, it looks a little bit disproportionate in a sense. It looks a little bit awkward that we are getting a high amount or double or triple the amount of student dependents that have come in since, if you go back since 2019.
Yeah.
So what the UK government have decided to do for all those listening is on the 24th of January 2024, they'll stop international students from being able to bring in their dependents,
Yeah.
as you just said. That is the shock that's gone through the UK student market and overseas student market looking to come into the UK. Is I cannot bring my dependents in from the 24th of January 2024. Now, if that is the case, who does that affect? And it seems like when I've been looking at the briefing papers and all that, that obviously includes all international students, bar those coming on research programs. I don't know if you saw that
Yeah,
part.
so we're expecting PhDs will be fine.
PhDs will be fine, yeah,
But
but
everything else is at risk at this point.
which includes, as we were discussing earlier this afternoon, includes a lot of people coming on the 1 year master's program.
Yeah, which is our most popular program that students are coming on at this stage.
Yes, it seems like it. And as the immigration side of Sabre International, and we looked into it, and we still think that the UK is the place to be if you're looking to study abroad. And of course, we say this because although you cannot bring in your dependents, Brent, at the moment,
Yeah.
one, we don't know when that will revert back. Number two, we actually think that it is a temporary pain, because at the end of the 3 years, that student is able to get on the graduate visa. So they've left the graduate visa alone. So for all those listening that do not know what a graduate visa is, it's a 2 year visa. Used to be called a post-study work visa. Now it's called a graduate visa. And this 2 year visa enables the applicant who is now successfully completed, say, undergraduate degree in the UK to look for a job or work a job in the UK. Of course, you cannot bring in dependents at that point, but what that does enable that student to do, Brent, is to move over from a graduate visa very quickly into what they call a skilled person visa, which is, in my opinion, solution number one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
And on the skilled person visa, which is the UK's employment visa, so it's where a UK employer will look to sponsor you and sponsor you using their sponsorship license, and they'll keep you. Ideally, they sponsor you for 3 years, and if they want and choose to keep you, they can extend that for another 5 years. Now, at any point, and it's important to stress this, then immediately when someone gets a skilled person visa, having been in the UK as a student, one of the concessions for employers is they don't have to pay the the immigration skills surcharge if you're coming over from a student visa into one of these sponsored work visas, which makes it a lot more cheaper for UK employers. So as a UK employer myself, I would be happy to do that because
So
I'm
rather
not
than
paying
bringing
that.
someone from overseas, you
Rather
rather
than
employ a student.
correct.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes it a lot
Absolutely.
better.
That's
And that
right.
encourages students, and it
Correct.
encourages employers to look at students as
Correct.
a priority as opposed to bringing
That's
in
right.
from another country. Yeah,
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And this is one of the many changes that the UK government have brought in to combat what they felt was the disadvantage, or one of the disadvantages that obviously came to light immediately after leaving the European Union. So we had to have a mechanism in place, Brent, which would allow us to still be quite attractive to employ overseas applicants to come into the UK and make it attractive for employers to do it. So some of the other changes, I don't know if you're aware of, but you know, before we left the European Union, an employer like myself, for example, had to do what they call a resident labor market test.
Yeah.
So I had to prove why I needed someone from outside
I
the
remember
EU
that.
and the
Yes,
UK.
yes, to prove that,
Yeah.
that you needed that
Which-
skill. Yeah,
Correct. So I
Yeah.
had to advertise in two different places
Yeah,
and so on,
yes,
which
yes.
are now no longer needed.
Yeah.
They've
Yeah.
taken that out in its
Is there
entirety.
still a salary cap, though? I mean, a salary range.
Yeah, absolutely. There's still a salary, but it's been dumbed down in most professions.
Low, yeah,
So it's
lowered as well,
going at
wasn't it?
market
Yeah.
rate. So the threshold has been made lower. But even so, what has happened is to make it even more attractive for candidates as well. So they've also tried to make it more attractive for candidates, where they've told candidates, well, actually, you can come to UK, you can come and work for one person, but you can also work for another person, and you can get a second sponsorship. So they've tried to make it very attractive for not just the employer, but even the employee, in other words.
Yeah.
So often we get a scenario where someone was not able to come into UK 2-3 years ago is now easily be able to get a job.
Yeah.
So for all your students and anyone listening to this thinking, oh, well, I can't bring in my family if I decide to study in the UK, well, you can finish your studies and quite quickly, in my opinion, depending on exactly what you do, we jump onto what they call a skilled person visa.
Is there like a skills list, though, that you have to
There's
be on?
absolutely a skills list that one can look at. And if you are on the what they call a shortage occupation list, so if anyone listening to this wants to Google it, it's called the UK shortage occupation list. If your skills or your job is listed on there, what you do is listed on there, then it does make it a lot more cheaper for you to come in. And it's almost like fast tracking your application into the UK, or within the UK, you can switch over.
Yeah.
So the idea here is for a student not to go back out of the UK. You can switch over straight from a student visa into a skilled person visa.
I mean, are we based on this? Are we making an assumption that there's obviously a huge skills list, a skills shortage in the UK?
Absolutely, there's a big deficit
around certain jobs, and that's obviously why they're encouraging students to stay on.
Correct.
Is to fulfill this list.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So I mean, that's great because that's exactly what I want to hear. So, meaning the UK can still be the number one choice. With meaning that the UK is still very much aggressively wanting students to stay. It's just a kind of a small change in the way we go about it.
Correct.
But we're still very much following the same route for students to either stay back or to get that skill and get that experience before they do go home.
Absolutely. And with Sable, we actually have a separate section, just like Sable Education. Then we got, my business, which is visas and citizenship. We actually have another division here called business immigration, and they actually specialize in getting people into the skilled person visa role and also getting the employers the sponsorship license. Yeah. So we can act on behalf of both sides.
So if a company that they're working for doesn't have a skills license, we can get them that as well.
We can get them the license and get the person visa.
And is that quite challenging, or is it?
Absolutely not. So it's all online based now. So one of the other changes that the UK government made in their plan,
because that was always a challenge, right?
It was indeed always a challenge. It was so much rigmarole, so much red tape around the paperwork, which is now all online. So it's very feasible. It's completely paperless to apply for the sponsorship license. Okay. So again, it making it more attractive. So I find if there's anyone listening to this that is remotely thinking about coming into the UK and may or may not have dependents at this stage, there is a future in the UK. I believe it's more attractive than it's ever been before because we have a large deficit. And you just have to Google this stuff. You just go on the internet and you will see that in most occupations in the UK, we can't fulfill the vacancies, right from your baristas at the coffee shop to your surgeons.
But I want to make a
everything in
comment on that
between.
compliance element as well, because a
Absolutely.
lot of people think that, so in other countries it's sometimes easier to get sponsored. But what I want to comment on, and I think it's quite important, and the reason probably why the UK has done this, being
Mm,
been through the experience of having easy routes for students to go through. And what tends to happen is students end up working in menial jobs. They have an engineering
right.
degree,
Yes.
and work in a menial job just so that they can stay.
Mm,
And
mm,
that's not ideal for anybody. So these rules that they're bringing in, these compliance rules,
yes.
mean that students have to go and get jobs in proper and follow their route.
The actual career
And
path.
I prefer this because then we've got genuine students coming.
Right.
Students who are coming here who want to become engineers need to go be engineers,
Right.
not working in coffee
No.
shops.
Yeah. Or yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's why it's so important to actually have these rules in place. So
Got
the
it.
UK, I've seen from doing this as long as I have, has been through this. 10 years ago, they had the easy
Yeah.
route. And what happened is students were getting taken advantage of. They were getting paid 40 to 50% less
Mm.
than the local
Then the
employees.
locals. Yes.
They were getting put into jobs that they were signing up as
Yeah.
engineers, but ending up
But
getting
ended up
coffee for people.
Coffee for people. Right.
This avoids that. They're getting
Mm.
paid properly. They're doing the jobs they're meant to be doing,
Yes.
and they're living and immigrating. If they do end up migrating here, it's for what they're meant to be doing, not
Yes.
just based
Not-
on anything that they can do.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing for students overall. So
Yeah.
again, one more attractive point
Yeah.
for the UK.
Yeah, when you're
Or-
choosing the UK, you need to come here because you want to become that, and
you
that's
want to become that.
follow the proper route as opposed to
Yes.
just trying to get in anywhere. And that's not the kind of migration the UK wants, and they're
Absolutely.
going to turn that away. So I think it's really important that
Well,
we actually we applaud this as opposed
Yes.
to seeing it as a barrier.
as a negative.
It's actually there for good reason.
It's there for good reason. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, just coming back to skilled person visa and some of the advantages again, we know one of the other changes that the UK government made was you can't switch into a skilled person visa without successfully actually completing your degree,
Yes.
right?
Yes, which is
So
which I
that's
think is great. Yeah.
which again appeals to what you're saying here,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
So I hear you, but again, one of the advantages of a skilled person visa is you can sponsor family.
Yes.
Employers
so you can
no
bring your
longer-
dependents in. So
Yeah.
don't come so eventually they can bring their dependents. Right?
Absolutely,
So
and
the
they can-
door's not closed on dependents. It's not like you're not
No.
going to move here without your family.
It's only when you're in that full-time study phase.
So come here, study hard,
Correct.
get some experience, and then your family.
And then your family can join you, and the family will get
You're
the
actually going
same.
to save money, really.
Absolutely, and the
Yeah.
family will, and you can go visit, and they can come visit, of course. But the family will get the same leave to remain as the main applicant.
Yes.
They're not going to be shortchanged. And one of the other advantages of going for the skilled person visa immediately after completing your degree, perhaps, if you can, and avoiding the graduate
So you
visa
don't have to do
bridge.
your whole graduate visa.
You do not
you
have
can
to-
change any time.
Correct.
Okay, that's great.
Absolutely.
So it could even be less than 3 years. You
Yeah.
could do it in a year, effectively, if you graduate and get a job.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right. So
Okay.
if I came in for a master's and I did my 1-year master's, for example,
Yes.
then I would do my 1-year master's, I'll graduate, immediately go into a skilled person visa and use that to
Yeah.
sponsor my family into the UK.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Now-
if you follow the skills list, the skills shortage
Yes.
list, there's a higher
Yes.
chance that you will find
Absolutely.
something a lot quicker.
A lot more quicker.
Yeah.
And because your skills are needed in the UK, hence on that list, it will also be, you will pay a preferential fee, a reduced fee
Oh,
to come
amazing.
into the UK
Yeah.
as well on your government fees, and so will your employer as well. So again, to encourage the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. So lately you will be seeing a lot in the news where nurses and are leaving their countries like Ghana and
Yes.
etc. coming into the UK, and these are the reasons why.
Of course.
Right,
Of course.
because it's quite easy for them
Yeah.
to come in. But what the point I wanted to make before we move on and conclude was that the skilled person visa is a qualifying visa to indefinite leave to remain.
Yes.
In other words, it will allow you and your family to permanently settle in the UK if that is
Okay.
what
Yeah.
our listeners here may want.
Yeah. So there is a
Um,
route to eventually staying
and
if
then-
you go through the right channels.
Correct. So it's 5
Yeah.
years on a skilled person visa, working for a set of employers or their employer.
You don't have to only work for the same one. You can
No.
change as long
You
as
can
you've been here
change.
5 years.
Correct. And once you've done 5 years, you get indefinite to remain, which is the UK's version of permanent residency, as you know.
Yeah.
And once you've got that, then further year in the UK on your indefinite to remain, so the 6-year anniversary of you being in the UK, you can naturalize as a
Yeah.
British citizen. If you've got children under 18, they can register. If they're over 18, they'll naturalize.
Okay.
So again, there's a real good advantage
Okay.
of studying in the UK and using that to come in and to gain that foothold and then jump into a skilled person visa. Some of our listeners, Brent, that might be interested in also to know, and I'll just touch on it briefly because I think it's quite long
One at a time,
already,
yeah.
but is that you don't really need to also work for someone. You can switch into other categories.
I was going to ask, because there are any other categories. That was going to be my next question, to be honest.
So there are other categories, and the other category worth noting, which is not that well known yet, is the innovator route, or now what they call the innovator founder route. And simply put, what it is in layman terms is you're going to raise a business in the UK.
Okay, so like the entrepreneur visa, basically.
Correct.
Okay,
that's right.
exciting.
It's a rebrand of that.
Yeah.
Now, with the innovator visa, you can, and they've just recently announced that you can also work another job. So while you're raising your business,
okay, so you can get on to the entrepreneur visa or the innovator visa, and then still get a part-time job to help fund it.
Correct. As a student, you can go straight into innovator route if your business idea is genuine, scalable, and viable.
Yeah,
something like maybe.
And again, your team will be able to help with all of that.
And my team can help with that, absolutely. And once a business plan has been endorsed by a relevant endorsing body approved by the Home Office, you'll get a three-year visa to be on an innovator route, but you can still work for someone else while you do that.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Just to give you that ability to continue in your business. That's an amazing
opportunity.
Absolutely.
And again, so the best thing they can do is come and see you guys. This is the plan.
Get an idea.
And then let you guys work with them to make sure it's all compliant.
Exactly. So as a student, you don't necessarily have to straight away jump and look for sponsorship.
Yes.
You can, if you had an entrepreneurial idea, come to us and we can guide you down the innovator founder route. And once you've got that, that does lead to indefinite remain as well. And you can sponsor family on that route.
That's incredible.
Right?
Yeah. What an awesome opportunity.
Exactly. And the good thing is, and that last good thing is recently they also announced that there's no longer a need to show a minimum of £50,000 as an investment funds for the innovator route. So in other words, I don't have to show that I have that. All I have to show is this is my business plan. It is, scalable, viable, and genuine.
Yeah, and actually start it and get
it going.
Yeah,
correct. So again, some of our listeners and some of your clients
that offers that. To be honest, I think that's
unique. No, it is very unique to the UK, and it's one of the overall plan to create, make the UK the innovation hub of the world.
Well, I mean, historically, you've seen it. If you look at companies around the world now, I don't have the statistics on me, but the amount of businesses started by immigrants that have come through education is phenomenal. I mean,
it is.
Like, again, I don't have examples and statistics right here, but I know just in the US, I think, what is it? The CEO of Microsoft, the CEO of Apple. These are big companies that have got their CEOs are students. They came through the migration student route.
That's right. That's absolutely correct.
And I'm pretty sure the UK has got similar examples where we've had amazing students come through, start their own businesses, etc., etc.
Absolutely.
So what an awesome opportunity, really.
Awesome opportunity. Yeah. Well, Brent, was there anything else you would like to discuss?
No, I think those are two great options, and I think those are two great options. It really makes me feel comfortable to continue to push the UK to my students, and just being transparent around how long they'll have to leave their family behind. It's not forever, which is great.
It's not
so long as they follow the right rules and work with you guys effectively once they graduate. I think that's the most important thing. Once they graduate, is to come see our team here and let you guys help them look at legal options and the correct way of doing this. There's no reason why they shouldn't have their family over.
Absolutely. Absolutely, I agree, Brent. The door is not entirely shut.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
That's
thank you for your time.
Great news for me.
Appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the advice. I really appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. And thank you for listening.